their entire physiology has continually been orchestrating itself and synchronizing itself with Mother Nature. That continual congruence and coherence going on in all of nature is called presence. There's no one being present. Presence is just the end result of the system naturally flowing with the invitation from life.
So do you know you're part of our online community? Every time you watch us, you belong to CSL Dallas, and we're so happy that you're part of our community. And we love providing you this kind of spiritual message. So if you want to keep seeing this, please donate. You can donate at csldallas.org/give, or you can text 972-954-4404. Be part of our community and sit back and enjoy the message.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for inviting me, and Sherry and Christine for hosting me, and Tony for picking me up from the airport. It's so sweet to be embraced. If I forget, will you remind me? What is it we're reminding each other of? Something obviously that we have forgotten. And remembering isn't just mental recall. Remembering. It's the same as integral, coming together. We're reminding ourselves and each other of that which we know by heart. How is it that we know things by heart? When we're born and we come out of our mothers, no matter where you go around the world, whoever has the infant brings the infant to the mother's arms. And no matter what culture you visit, the mother always brings the infant toward her left breast, the one nearest her heart. If you looked at the cardiac, the heart rhythms of the infant and the mother after the child is born, they would be different. But when they get within 7 to 9 inches of each other, the two heartbeats synchronize. They superimpose and become one heart. And if you listen really carefully, you'll hear the mother and the child simultaneously utter, "Ah, thank God I'm home." That merging into oneness, which in science they call bonding, that heart-to-heart connection is what establishes what we know by heart, which has nothing to do with memory. If you look at an infant, an infant doesn't know it's an infant. There's no awareness of gender. There's no awareness of religious preference. There's no awareness of skin coloration. There's no awareness of preference. No preference. What is the aspect of our humanity that sees without preference? And that's the foundation of our whole life. There is an aspect of our humanity that sees from no point of view. That's what our awakening is about. It's not about learning something new. It's about, if I forget, will you remind me? This is where we came from. This peace, this serenity, this love is what the word aloha means. Those are the qualities that are imprinted within our humanity at the moment that we enter. How do we come back and remember not what we've learned, but remember what we have forgotten? Jesus spoke about this. It's interesting when Reverend Karen said to me, "What will you speak about at the service?" I don't have the slightest idea, because I'm only the dummy. The ventriloquist is somewhere else. And she said, "Well, you can speak about anything you want, but the theme is going to be Christ consciousness." I said, "Okay, we'll talk about that." I had no idea. I never know until the guidance comes. And then my flights got switched around and I ended up coming to Dallas on Spirit Air. So in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is quoted as saying, when you see up as down and down as up, when you see the outside and the inside the same, when you see a man as a woman and a woman as a man, then you shall enter the kingdom. Listen to those words. What Jesus was speaking about is coming to that place that sees with no preferences. 1,500 years ago, the great Zen patriarch Sengsten wrote a gorgeous piece called the Sin Sin Ming. Listen to the first verse. "The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, the world is clear and undisguised. Make the slightest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. If you wish to see the truth, hold no opinions for or against anything. To hold what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. When the deep meaning of things is not understood, the mind's essential peace is disturbed to no avail. The great way, the kingdom, aloha, health and happiness, only result when the seeing has no preferences, no point of view. What is that place that has no point of view? Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote a magnificent piece on this. And he says, there's a principle underlying all things. It's a simple, undescribed, undescribable presence that resides silently within us. Listen to those words. He said that which is the source of everything, what we call God, what physicists call the Big Bang, that which is the source of everything is something that is simple, undescribable, silent. It doesn't make a sound. And it resides within us. And then Emerson goes on to say, we are not to do, but to let do. We are not to work, but to be worked upon. What Emerson was saying is that everything takes care of itself. Now you can say, oh, that's ridiculous. But look at Mother Nature. Who of you controls the weather, the seasons, the tides? Who of you knows how a tree grows? Okay, let's go inside. How many of us control our heartbeat, our breathing, our sugar levels, our hormonal release? Do you realize that there is absolutely nothing in this universe that is doing anything? The entire universe is self-activating and self-regulating. The entire universe of our body is self-activating and self-regulating. There is no part of our physiology designed to initiate action. What makes us move then? The same thing that causes a tree to grow. The tree doesn't push up against the ground to get tall. Something invites it. And it must respond, because its respond also come from the same place that invites it. A tree lives choicelessly. It is guided. Its entire life is guided by light. Light. Interesting word. The Bible speaks about a creative force, refers to as God. God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere at the same time. And then it goes on to say, this God is light. Look at all the spiritual teachings throughout history, and you'll notice that this thing we call consciousness, this mysterious thing that scientists refer to as the hard problem, consciousness is always equated with light. Speak to a physicist, and they'll say to you, all matter is frozen light. Everything that we experience as solid including this, is light that has been transmuted magically into matter. You speak to a scientist and you say, we see all of these forms, but what's behind all that? And they'll say, oh, this is just a quantum soup. This is just a soup of vibration, of energy. I don't understand what energy, what kind of energy. And they'll say, at the most fundamental level, the energy from which all life emerges is the energy of light. If you ask them to say a little bit about light, they'll use different words, but they'll tell you that light behaves as if it is all-powerful, all-knowing, and everywhere at the same time. The light that we confuse with brightness during the day, because light is invisible. It cannot be seen any more than you can see godliness. The light that causes us to perceive brightness, which is not light, is no different than what you think of as a spiritual light. It's all the same light. And it's guiding every step of our lives scientifically. Now we're not just talking about some interesting philosophy or spiritual conversation for Sunday church. I'm saying that every function of the body is light dependent. Just like every function of a tree is light dependent. If you could follow the life of some animal like a deer or a bear in the summertime, you'd notice that their skin is thin and their hair is short because the days are longer and it's warmer. As summer goes to autumn and the light levels outside change both in quantity and quality, and the days get shorter, the animal's skin gets thicker. They start to grow more hair, and all of their cells are continually changing along with the light levels. When winter comes and the first snow falls and the animal awakens in the morning, he doesn't say, "Oh my God, I forgot to get my overcoat at Target." He or she is totally there with life because their entire physiology has continually been orchestrating itself and synchronizing itself with Mother Nature. That continual congruence and coherence going on in all of nature is called presence. There's no one being present. Presence is just the end result of the system naturally flowing with the invitation from life. How does the invitation come? How many of you have had a moment where maybe if you have a child, something about them flashed into your awareness and you picked up the telephone and you called them up and they said, "Oh my God, Mommy, I was just thinking about you." How many of you have had an experience like that? Or where you've just had a flash of insight about something And then it turned up. Now, you weren't thinking about anything. You weren't intending anything. You weren't trying to create your own reality. You weren't doing anything. And it came to you free of charge. Now, don't believe a word I say. But I want you to consider the possibility that that is going on 24 hours a day, every second of the day, every second of your life. That continually the light that the Bible refers to as God, that physicists refer to as the ground of reality, is continually guiding every cell of the body, because the trillions of cells in our body all have eyes, just like these. And they're all designed to detect and respond to this invisible, formless essence called light. We think that vision is about seeing this. But the eyes are designed to detect and respond to a single photon of light. That is the extreme of the whole field of quantum physics. And you might say, well, what's the value of quantum physics? It's just something you can't understand. The reason you can't understand it is the same reason that Einstein at the end of his life said, I spent my whole life trying to understand light, and I don't know any more now than I did in the beginning. Why is that quantum mechanics important? The foundation of quantum mechanics is light. And we live in a world of technology. Over 50% of all the technology in the world is based on quantum physics. So what I'm sharing with you is not my belief or some interesting idea that's funneling through me right now. It's a truth. And why is truth important? Jesus spoke about the fact that the truth shall set you free. The question is, whose truth are we talking about? Is it yours? Is it yours? Is it mine? Does it have to do with what you believe or what you believe or what you believe? Today when you get home, go to your computer, or if you have a thesaurus, look up the word belief, and you'll see that belief means the same as idea, thought, theory, concept. And then go down to the antonyms, the words that mean the opposite of belief, and there, shining brightly in caps, is truth. Truth is the opposite of belief. So then we must question everything we believe, because that's something that's true today, but maybe not true tomorrow. Truth is something very different. Truth is what is seen when the source of the seeing sees unconditionally, without preferences. Without preferences. You could spend your whole life trying to quiet your mind, and it would be like trying to quiet your heart. It won't work. You can keep changing all the ideas going on in the mind, but then you'll just have a mind full of ideas. But consider this. Close your eyes for a second. Just sit and notice any sensations in that which you call your body. Notice the sensation of the chair against your back. Notice the sensation of the chair you're sitting on and the feeling in the bottom of your legs. Notice this thing that we call breathing that is happening to us rather than by us. Now notice this other aspect of our humanity called mind. And perhaps you'll notice a thought emerge. Or maybe a worry. It might say, oh, that's very interesting. Oh, that's absolute silliness. Notice how that thing we call mind lives in a world of duality. It does not live in a world of oneness. It can never know oneness. Doesn't have that ability. We often hear about letting go, but that mind which chooses chocolate over vanilla has the function of grabbing. I want that. I don't want that. I like that. I don't like that. It's designed to grab, not designed to let go. Now, as you notice activity in the mind, come back a second and let me ask you, what was noticing the activity going on in that thing you call mind? What was that something that without saying a word noticed what was going on in the mind? What was that simple, undescribed, undescribable presence that resides silently within us? If you recognize that the only reason you're aware of mental activity is because you, your soul, is observing it, and your soul has no preferences. It doesn't want chocolate over vanilla. It sees everything. It knows everything, but it doesn't know that it knows because there's no personality there. If we recognize that we are aware of everything because of this observer, something profound happens. 42 years ago, while I was a practicing physician and scientist, I had a profound experience. I had worn glasses for 9.5 years. And I sat down, it was 1976, and I removed my glasses, and I sat down and I closed my eyes, and I began my meditation practice. And somewhere in the midst of that, Jacob Lieberman disappeared. I don't know what happened to him, but the only thing that was there was this silent, peaceful clarity. My eyes were closed, but something could see me in the room. There was no sense of where the seeing was happening from. In fact, it was so profound that when I came out of this experience, my eyesight was crystal clear. And when someone said to me, "What happened?" and I said, "I don't know," it felt as though I became the sky. I went to my office, checked my eyesight, and I was seeing 300% better. I was so astounded that I examined myself, asked myself those questions, which is better, 1 or 2. Got just as confused as my patients did. And even though I couldn't see what I was doing on the instrument, I kept changing the lenses. When I finished, I came out from behind the device thinking my prescription has to be weaker after all. I'm seeing 300% better. But the prescription hadn't changed at all. In other words, something was seeing 300% better with no change to my eyes. Now, at that point, I didn't know whether to be excited or terrified. Wasn't supposed to happen, but it has remained for 42 years. I'm 70 years old. I've never had a pair of glasses on my face since that day. Now, what I'm sharing with you is not so much about something I experience, but that's what an instance of coming to that place that sees without preferences can initiate. It's not something we have to try to do or we can figure out how to do it. It only happens when all the figuring out stops. The mind will never stop thinking. But if you recognize that you are the observer, that silent observer without any preferences, over time, the chatter starts to reside and move back and move back. And then you find you can begin living without a net because you notice that you are continually being guided, not once in a blue moon, every second. Have a grateful day.
Wow. Jacob, will you stay up here with me? Scott, will you come play? We're going to pray.
Pray is like play.
Pray is like play.
Yeah.
Yes. So I invite us to go within to that place that Jacob spoke of. That place that he arrived in 1971. It is that place where there is only one thing taking place, and that is light. I am light. No matter what we choose to call it, it is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. This grand and glorious light that may not be able to be described fully, but certainly can be experienced as us fully. Allowing that which is light to see as us, through us, with no preference. It is that place of no preference, the place that Jacob spoke of, that is how we come to be in this world. And so we take this opportunity to smile, knowing that every single one of the trillion of cells in our body, imagine, can see. It is this light. We take a moment to be grateful for that which is always moving as us. And as we awaken to this awareness that I am light, this light into a little more solid form, that I move about this world and I move within humanity, seeing as this light, being as this light, sharing the light, and letting this light guide each and every one of us. And so we give great thanks for this moment, this awareness. And so it is. Thank you, Jacob.